Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight where we get you the day's top stories. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you all that's making news from India and across the world. Let's start with the headlines. Parliament is adjourned sine die. Rajya Sabha loses 55 hours to opposition disruptions. Lok Sabha works for 115 hours, passes 14 bills in winter session. Last day of the session sees 4 bills passed in Rajya Sabha, but the left objects to the absence of discussion on any of them. BJP suspends its MP Kirti Azad for anti-party activities. Further action to depend on Azad's reply to the show cause notice. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Moscow, will hold talks with President Vladimir Putin on economic and political issues. Declassification of files of Subhash Chandra Bose high on agenda. Top story this evening, the winter session of Parliament that started on the 26th of November was adjourned sine die today. But during the entire session, the Rajya Sabha lost 55 hours to disruption by opposition parties. It was scheduled to work for 112 hours during the session. On the other hand, the Lok Sabha worked for 115 hours, an hour more than its scheduled 114 hours. The conduct of the opposition, led by the numerically strong Congress, came up for some stern comments from Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari.
Three weeks back, on December 1, the Rajya Sabha solemnly committed itself to the principles and ideals of the Constitution. A functioning legislature is an essential concomitant of these principles. Disruptions amount to their negation. The record of this session belies this commitment in good measure. The Chair appeals to the honourable members, 1. to introspect on this state of affairs, 2. to desist from approaches and practices that demean the stature of the Rajya Sabha, and 3. urges them to make the fullest possible use of the instrumentalities of accountability and discussion available to them under the rules of procedure.
Meanwhile, on the last day of the winter session, Rajya Sabha passed 4 bills without any discussion, and members from the left parties objected to this and staged a walkout. Here's a look at the proceedings on the last day of winter session in the upper house.
The last day of the winter session saw 4 bills being passed by the upper house of Parliament without discussion. When proceedings began at 1 p.m, Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian took up the Commercial Courts, Commercial Division and Commercial Appellate Division of High Courts Bill 2015 and the Arbitration and Conciliation Act Amendment Bill 2015 for consideration and passing. Congress member T. Subbarami Reddy did not move the statutory resolution on these 2 bills, indicating the main opposition party's willingness to get them cleared. However, the left parties objected to the bills being passed without discussion.
No, not moving. You are not moving.
Not moving.
Yes.
We all agreed very minimal time for discussion.
Yeah.
Discussion. So let us not set the precedent
No,
of
because
passing without
I have
a
already
discussion.
said.
Can you pass bills like this, sir? It is for you,
You
sir.
know
It is
everything.
for you.
You know
But
more than me.
I have strong reservation. I
But
have strong
yes, I know.
objection, sir.
Soon after, 2 more bills, the Atomic Energy Amendment Bill 2015 and the Payment of Bonus Amendment Bill 2015 were also passed without discussion. However, some members sought a few clarifications.
This bill is proposing that government have a 51% cap on all new nuclear projects which are set up as joint ventures. Does this mean that private companies also will be included?
It is only for the private sector companies and
Public sector?
Sorry, public sector companies, not for the private sector.
Yes.
However, the opposition raised objections to the Sugar Cess Amendment Bill 2015, which was certified as money bill by the Lok Sabha Speaker.
मालिकों को मदद करने वाले सारे के सारे प्रोविजन है 10,000 करोड़ रुपए आप तैयारी दे चुके हैं मैं चाहता हूं इस पर बहस होनी चाहिए आई एम हियर टू अपोज इट द शुगर सेस
times for the cess for the consumer. Is it fair or not? It is not fair.
The main dues problem has been that you had farmers' cane dues which were 21,000 crores, which have now significantly come down. Now, to keep the prices at a level that the farmer can also be paid is the principal object. Now, this cess entirely goes into the consolidated fund in the first instance. And therefore, every ingredient under Article 110 of a money bill is there. Speaker has certified it as a money bill. We have two options. Either for our failure to take it up, it is deemed to be passed, or we return it as all money bills are returned.
While the Indian Forest Amendment Bill 2012 was withdrawn, the Rajendra Central Agricultural University Bill 2015 was introduced in the upper house on the last day of the winter session. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And also in Rajya Sabha today, the opposition Congress, Samajwadi Party and the JDU alleged that stones are arriving in Ayodhya for the proposed Ram temple. The opposition charged the BJP with trying to vitiate the secular environment, allegations that the government denied while maintaining that the Supreme Court's verdict will be respected.
Raising the issue in Zero Hour, K.C. Tyagi of the JDU said that ahead of the assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, a communally charged atmosphere is being created in the state.
अब पुनः अयोध्या में वैसे ही परिस्थिति पैदा की जा रही है। सब जानते हैं कि मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में है और अभी दस्तावेजों का अनुवाद भी नहीं हुआ है। ऐसे में सिर्फ माहौल गरमाने के अलावा कुछ नहीं सर। 2017 में वहां
Congress members backed Tyagi's remarks, even as Samajwadi Party members marched into the well, alleging the nation's secular fabric was being damaged. Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi shielded the government. He said stone carvings for the temple are being done at a site that's 1.5 kilometers away from the disputed site. He also emphasized that the Supreme Court's decision will be supreme.
जिन लोगों का साधु संतों का नाम लिया वो अयोध्या में रहते हैं, खुद में उनके रहने पर कोई प्रतिबंध नहीं है और पत्थर को तराशे जाने पर भी कोई प्रतिबंध नहीं है।
Naqvi's remarks failed to quell the dissent as the opposition raised the pitch. Deputy Chairman PJ Kurian intervened, saying there was no confusion after Naqvi's statement.
I want to repeat that the Honorable Minister has given assurance that the government will go by the court's decision. Then what is the need of this shouting and agitation?
Amid the escalating protest, the chair adjourned the House for 10 minutes. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Lok Sabha was also adjourned sine die on Wednesday. The House discussed the contributions of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar and the commitment to the Constitution during this entire session. And during this session, the Congress and other opposition parties also disrupted proceedings on a number of occasions on various issues. But the government did manage to get 13 bills passed.
Lok Sabha had 20 sittings during this winter session. In these, 117 hours of work was done, 13 bills were passed, even as the insolvency and bankruptcy bill was sent to the Joint Parliamentary Committee after the opposition demanded it. Among the bills passed were several related to the financial reforms agenda of the government.
भारतीय मानक ब्यूरो विधेयक 2015, उच्च न्यायालय और उच्चतम न्यायालय न्यायाधीश वेतन सेवा शर्त संशोधन विधेयक 2015, वाणिज्यिक न्यायालय उच्च न्यायालय वाणिज्यिक प्रभाग और वाणिज्यिक अपील प्रभाग विधेयक 2015, माध्यस्थम और सुलह संशोधन विधेयक 2015 और राष्ट्रीय जलमार्ग विधेयक 2015.
Besides the legislative business, several short-duration discussions on issues as varied as floods, drought and rising intolerance were held under Rule 193. During the debate on intolerance, there were heated arguments from both the opposition and treasury benches. CPIM's Mohammad Salim and BJP's Virendra Singh were particularly in the news for their comments during the debate. Price rise was also discussed. However, this discussion was incomplete.
नियम 193 के अधीन अविलंबनीय लोक महत्व के विषय अर्थात देश में असहिष्णुता की घटनाओं से उत्पन्न स्थिति, देश के कई भागों में बाढ़ की स्थिति, देश के विभिन्न भागों में सूखे की स्थिति और मूल्य वृद्धि के बारे में 4 अल्पकालिक चर्चाएं, इनमें से मूल्य वृद्धि पर चर्चा पूरी नहीं हो पाई है.
The winter session saw the Congress party in an aggressive mode. The party raised the intolerance issue first. The Congress also focused on vendetta politics and corruption. They found support in Trinamool Congress, left parties and other opposition parties on a number of occasions. Among the opposition, the Congress party was able to register its presence despite its paltry strength. Sham Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in a rare act, Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan on Wednesday agreed to expunge her own remarks made on Tuesday against members protesting in the well. The Speaker expunged her vested interest remark after the Congress party expressed concern, saying that it was not right on part of the chair to say that. On Tuesday, as Congress members protested in the well, the Speaker had said that they don't have any national interest and they have only vested interest. However, she clarified that she had not named any particular party and had made the remark as members protested in the well of the House.
आप हमारे रक्षक हैं, आप गार्डियन हैं,
अब बात
आप
सुनिए
कुछ भी
ना,
कह
बैठिए,
सकते हैं,
अब बैठिए।
लेकिन ऐसे
फिर गड़बड़।
इसीलिए मैं आपसे विनंती करता हूं
जी।
कि आप इन शब्दों को एक्सपंज
जी।
कीजिए और आप ये कहिए कि ये ठीक नहीं है।
गत कई दिनों से डिस्टर्ब किया जा रहा है, घोषणाएं भी दी जा रही है। जो घोषणा है आप अपनी पलट करके उस पर विचार करना। इसलिए अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट शब्द निकालो, आई एम रेडी।
With a quick break here, more news follows. Do stay with us.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young, and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue. Each square, in turn, also narrates some message of wisdom.
Tales that inspire, stories of social change. A salute to diversity, promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries every Friday at 10:30 p.m, Saturday 12:30 p.m, and Sunday at 1 p.m.
Welcome back. Let's get you some more national news. And BJP MP and former cricketer Kirti Azad has been suspended from the party for publicly targeting Finance Minister Arun Jaitley with allegations of irregularities in the Delhi and District Cricket Association. A show-cause notice has been issued to Azad asking him to explain his anti-party conduct. The party will then take further action based on Azad's reply.
मैंने तो पार्टी के खिलाफ कुछ नहीं कहा। मैंने तो कहा कि मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का समर्थन करता हूं क्योंकि वो कहते हैं ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा। मैंने तो ये बात कही कि इतने सालों से हो रही थी। मैंने किसी का नाम तो नहीं लिया कि सस्पेंड हो गए या किसी को आप निकालो या अरुण जेटली चोर हैं। मैंने तो नहीं कहा था। मैंने कहा कि उनके समय रहते हुए हुई थी और इतनी ज्यादा वायलेशन है कि आज जो आदमी लड़ता रहे 10 साल तक जिसको पॉलिटिकली लोग प्रताड़ित करते रहे, जो सच्चाई की बात करे वो बाहर हो जाए और उसको
Well, defying the party chief, Azad had gone ahead with a press conference on Sunday highlighting corruption allegations linked to the DDCA. Jaitley was the DDCA president for 13 years until 2013. Though Azad has been unrelenting in his attack, Jaitley has chosen not to proceed against him personally. He has, however, dragged the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and 5 other Aam Aadmi Party leaders to court. The BJP has rallied around the Finance Minister, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself saying that Jaitley will come out of it with flying colours. Amit Shah has also batted for him, saying that the party stands united with him. In other news, Home Minister Rajnath Singh today paid tributes to the BSF troopers who died in a plane crash in Delhi yesterday. Tributes were paid at a ceremony at the Safdarjung airport, where family members and relatives of all the 10 deceased personnel were present, and members of parliament also condoled the deaths.
Why does a soldier's family have to cry every time? That was a question Saloni, the daughter of Sub-Inspector Ravindra Kumar, had for the Home Minister at the funeral of the 10 BSF personnel killed in Tuesday's BSF plane crash. Kumar was one of the victims of the tragedy.
भी मेरे हस्बैंड कहते थे it will take more than 4 to 5 years for the new induction of the aircrafts in BSF Air Wing.
Private airlines are still subject to very stringent checks and airworthiness directives, but when it comes to paramilitary or military airplanes, the airworthiness and maintenance is always under question.
He used to discuss that there is some kind of a less maintenance kind of a thing is there, and any time any wrong thing can happen.
On Wednesday, Home Minister Rajnath Singh was left fielding some of the most difficult questions of his political career, as relatives of the deceased personnel urged him to immediately replace all outdated planes of the paramilitary force. Minister of State for Home Kiran Rijiju, however, rejected reports of the outdated planes. The Parliament also mourned the death of the BSF personnel. Members in both houses expressed heartfelt condolences for those who lost their lives. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Delhi High Court on Wednesday refused to stay the Delhi government's odd-even formula for cars, which will be effective from the 1st of January 2016. A PIL was filed demanding an exemption for disabled people as their vehicles were specially designed, due to which they would not be able to follow the rule. The Delhi High Court, though, has asked the government to take into consideration the issues raised in the PIL, but refused to stay the rule from coming into effect. The next hearing is scheduled for the 6th of January. Actor Salman Khan may face more trouble in the Mumbai hit-and-run case. The Maharashtra government informed the Bombay High Court today that it has decided to challenge the verdict, acquitting him of all charges in the Supreme Court. The government told the High Court of its decision to file a special leave petition in the Supreme Court to appeal against the actor's acquittal. The Law and Judiciary Department had accorded a sanction to the prosecution to file the SLP in the Supreme Court, which will be filed in due course. Salman Khan was acquitted of all charges on the 10th of December on the ground that the prosecution had failed to prove that he was driving the car under the influence of alcohol. Meanwhile, North India is reeling under a severe cold wave. The Met Department has recorded minimum temperatures below normal at most places in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and Himachal Pradesh. Here's a detailed report.
North India continues to brave severe winter conditions as the temperature dipped below normal in many parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. Churu district in Rajasthan recorded the lowest minimum temperature of 3.2 degrees Celsius. While in Srinagar, the mercury plunged over 5 degrees to settle at a low of minus 5.6 degrees. Schools in Uttar Pradesh's Moradabad district were closed after the city recorded 4 degrees centigrade today.
सभी विद्यालय चाहे वो गवर्नमेंट हो चाहे एडेड हो या प्राइवेट विद्यालय सभी बहुत सख्त ठंड पड़ रही है और इससे स्वास्थ्य को हानि पहुंच सकती है, इसलिए निर्णय लिया गया है कि 23 दिसंबर से 3 जनवरी तक सभी स्कूल मुरादाबाद के बंद रहेंगे.
The Met Department predicted heavy showers and snowfall in the next 24 hours in Himachal Pradesh, even as temperatures in capital Shimla touched minus 1 degree Celsius. Heavy downpour is also expected in parts in Kashmir Valley.
ये जो सर्दी है ये लगातार आगे रहेगी आने वाले दिनों में भी, लेकिन एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस भी कल अप्रोच करेगी जिससे हिमाचल प्रदेश के जो मिड हिल्स और हाई हिल्स वाला एरिया है इसमें हल्की बारिश या स्नोफॉल होने की भी संभावना है.
With the minimum temperature dipping to 6 degrees Celsius, Delhi too continued to reel under tough weather conditions. 2 trains were cancelled and 15 others were delayed as visibility slumped below 700 meters on Tuesday. However, flight operations were not affected. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, with that, let's quickly take you through some more updates that is coming from across the country in Nationwide. Kerala Governor Justice P. Sadasivam failed to board an Air India flight from Kochi after the pilot reportedly refused to wait for the dignitary and took off. The governor reportedly reached the airport only 10 minutes before the flight was to depart. Raj Bhavan will reportedly take up the matter with the appropriate authorities. Meanwhile, Air India sources said that they were looking into the matter as well. India's first indigenously designed and built warship INS Godavari will be decommissioned tomorrow in Mumbai. The warship, which was inducted into the Indian Navy 32 years ago, was armed with surface-to-surface and surface-to-air guided missiles. INS Godavari was also among the first frigates in the world capable of carrying 2 Sea King helicopters. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi is on a two-day visit to his parliamentary constituency Amethi. Rahul took a swipe on Narendra Modi's Achhe Din slogan, saying that bad days have come instead. The Congress Vice President pointed out that inflation was at its peak and nothing has been done for the country's farmers and the youth. A head constable of Delhi police was killed and 3 others injured today when 4 assailants opened fire inside a courtroom at the Karkarduma court complex in East Delhi. Police suspect it to be a case of rivalry between 2 gangs from northeast Delhi. The 4 assailants have been detained for questioning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Moscow for a 2-day visit to Russia. He started his trip by laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at the Kremlin wall.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Moscow on Wednesday evening. Accompanying him were NSA Ajit Doval and a delegation that includes Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar. Modi's first official engagement was a banquet that Russian President Vladimir Putin hosted in his honor. Before leaving for Moscow, Modi said despite India's growing clout in the world market, its relations with Russia have not changed, and it still remains the largest supplier of defense equipment in India.
We have a very special and privileged strategic relationship with Russia. And this has really spanned key sectors such as defense, nuclear cooperation, space. And at the last summit, both leaders had given a lot of attention to expanding the economic pillars of our relationship.
On Thursday, the CEO forum of both countries will hold talks and address a joint meeting. Before this, the Prime Minister will have a summit meeting with Russian President Putin. Changes in the United Nations Security Council are also likely to be discussed at the meeting.
We don't at all doubt the Russian commitment to see India as a permanent member. And I can tell you, even when External Affairs Minister was in Moscow, if you recall, I mean, it took up a considerable portion of the discussions with Foreign Minister Lavrov. I expect that this would be a continuing subject of discussion.
Both leaders are expected to hold talks on economic and political issues. A key point on the agenda will be the declassification of files of Subhash Chandra Bose. Another highlight of Modi's trip will be his address to the Indian community and a visit to the Russian Center for National Disaster Management Process.
There is a complete roadmap on nuclear cooperation between the two countries. But there are concerns on defense purchase in both the countries, and that is why they are trying to diversify their trade relations in areas other than defense. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Dharmendra.
Meanwhile, Iraq's military is fighting Islamic State militants in a major operation to oust the armed group from Ramadi. The security forces had stormed into the militant stronghold on Tuesday. The government says it expects to dislodge the militants within a few days. The Ramadi recapture will provide a major psychological boost to Iraqi security forces after a third of Iraq was seized by the militants last year.
The battle to drive out Islamic State militants from their stronghold in Ramadi has entered the second day, with the Iraqi military entering the center of the city. The capital of Anbar province had fallen to the militants in May this year, causing huge embarrassment to the Iraqi army. The army now has stormed into Ramadi in its bid to take the city back. Iraqi officials are optimistic that the city will be recaptured by the weekend. The officials said that forces are heading towards the main government complex and have come up against snipers and suicide bombers. The army says it now controls more than half of the city, including a key military command center. The operation to recapture Ramadi began early in November after a months-long effort to cut off supply lines to the city. However, the progress has been slow because the government is relying entirely on its own troops and not on the Shia militias in order to avoid rights abuses. The intelligence agencies have estimated up to 350 Islamic State fighters and possibly tens of thousands of civilians to be inside the city. The recapturing of Ramadi will provide a major psychological boost to Iraqi security forces, as it will be the second major city to be retaken from the Islamic State after Tikrit in April. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more international news updates in Global Buzz. In the early hours of December 23, Greece passed a landmark bill which allows civil partnership agreements between same-sex couples. This bill was enacted despite protests from opposition parties and the powerful Orthodox Church. Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, who has promised social reform, said that the bill closed a circle of embarrassment for the state. An explosion at Istanbul's second-largest airport on Wednesday killed one cleaning woman on an airplane and injured another. The budget carrier Pegasus confirmed the blast at Sabiha Gökçen Airport on the Asian side of the city when no passengers were in the area. They have confirmed that operations in the airport are continuing normally. The rescue operation for the landslide victims in China continued on Wednesday over 60 hours after the initial collapse. Thousands of workers are using sensors, drones and earth excavators at the 94-acre disaster site trying to reach possible survivors trapped under the mud. The missing persons toll is now down to 74. Meanwhile, the search for the people missing after a ferry sank off Indonesia's stormy waters entered its 5th day on Wednesday. The fate of as many as 70 people are still unknown. 7 people have been reported dead and 41 pulled out alive from rough seas by rescue teams, the Disaster Mitigation Agency has told news agency Reuters. Helicopters, fishing vessels and rubber dinghies are being used for the search. And now let's get you more updates from the world of sports in Sports Beat. The Indo-Swiss tennis combine of Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis have been named the 2015 Women's Doubles World Champions by the International Tennis Federation. The pair tallied a total of 9 titles, including Wimbledon and the US Open titles, since partnering up in March. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams were named the men's and women's singles world champions, respectively. India's teen golfer Aditi Ashok secured her 2016 European Tour card after becoming the first Indian ever to win a qualifying event for an international tour. Aditi rounded off with a birdie to claim a comprehensive 3-shot win. Sri Lanka defeated Nepal 1-0 in the opening games of the SAF Championship in Thiruvananthapuram today. Mohammad Rifna scored the lone goal for the Lankans in the last minute of the game. The match was dominated by Nepal, but a defensive glitch in the dying moments of the match proved too costly for the Gorkhalis, as the Lankan Tigers virtually have 1 foot now in the semi-finals. Australian cricketer Steve Smith has been named Cricketer of the Year for 2015 at the ICC Awards ceremony in Dubai. Smith became the 4th Australian and 11th overall to win the prestigious award named after Sir Garfield Sobers. He also became the 7th player to win 2 awards in the same year, as he was also declared the ICC Test Cricketer of the Year. That's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night.